I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Welcome to the South River Board of Education regular meeting of Monday, March 17th, 2025. And in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975 of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On January 15, 2025, the notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On January 15, 2025, the notice was faxed, mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger. On January 15, 2025, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Mr. Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bazak.
Mr. Bazak has been excused.
Mr. Budson.
Here.
Mrs. Bush.
Mrs. Bush has been excused.
Mrs. Byrne.
Here.
Mrs. Lau.
Here.
Mr. Nielsen.
Here.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Here.
Mrs. Young Yao.
Mrs. Young Yao has been excused.
Mrs. Urbanik.
Here.
Calvin Samiti.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Going into our agenda, the first item that we have is the use of facilities. Do we have any additions, Mr. Rosa?
We do not have any additions from our pre-meeting.
Okay. Board members, what is your pleasure on the use of facilities?
Move the use of facilities in accordance with board policies.
We have a motion by Vice President Nielsen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sadowski. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you. Mr. Rosa, what minutes do we have?
So no addition from our pre-meeting.
Okay, so we have the minutes, board from February 24th and February 27th, 2025. What is your pleasure on the minutes?
Move the reading of the minutes.
We have a motion by Vice President Nielsen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lell. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is our financial report. Ms. Lell.
Thank you. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer of School Monies for January 2025 be approved, and I so move.
We have a motion by Mrs. Lell
Second.
and a second by Vice President Nielsen. Any question on the superintendent's report? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. At this time, we're going to turn the meeting over to our Superintendent of Schools for her report. Dr. Zurcher.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanik. This month, the board will be approving a preliminary budget that we will be submitting to the county for approval. The budget was really focused on addressing the academic and extracurricular needs of our students. We received reductions in state aid this year. We also received some reductions in federal and our pre-K aid. But although this presented quite a challenge, we did balance the budget. And we managed to do so without reducing staffing, without reducing any major programs, and continuing to provide our students with support such as mental health services and so on. We're able to upgrade some of our classroom technology. We're able to upgrade some of our instructional materials as well. We're able to maintain our facilities, our security resources, and like I said, our mental health supports as well. So the public hearing on this budget, where we will be going over this budget in detail, will be on April 28th. on this superintendent's report, I also cover the unused snow days and their allocation. So as of right now, in our calendar, we have 3 unused snow days. If we don't have any snow the rest of March, beginning of April, which I hope we do not, April 11th, our schools will be closed, May 23rd and May 27th. I wanted to mention a bit on student attendance because our staff, our climate and culture specialists, as well as our administration, have really been putting a lot of time and effort into improving attendance and reducing chronic absenteeism. This is a measure in our school performance report, which is going to be published shortly by the New Jersey Department of Ed. And schools can be categorized in need of improvement if chronic absenteeism is more than 10%. So it's essential that we work with parents to make sure our students do get to school on time. And we've been addressing concerns for getting to school with parents through our guidance counselors, our social workers, and so on. We are also working with our truancy officer. Our truancy officer does visit homes when students are not in school on a continuous basis. And we also do file with municipal court, file a complaint when we need to in order to really help parents address this issue of truancy and getting to school. Also, in my superintendent's report, I put a little note about cell phone usage in school. I know this has been a big topic in the media. I know that the governor's recent budget address also spoke to an initiative to reduce the use of cell phones in public schools. And I did want to update the public in terms of what we do here in South River Public Schools. We do give our teachers the autonomy to manage this in the classrooms. The majority of teachers do have students put away their phones during instructional time. Middle school classrooms are equipped with some pocket holders where the students drop the phones. There are some issues with that process at the high school in terms of things like we found students who have multiple phones, believe it or not. So they put one in the pocket, but then still have another
In their pocket.
in their own pocket, correct. Also, we run the risk when we put those phones into those pockets of students grabbing somebody else's phone, and now the administration and teachers having to be responsible for now searching for phones, looking for phones, filing police reports, and so on. So a little bit more challenging at the high school, but teachers, like I said, do ask students to put the phones away during instructional time. And we are looking out for the New Jersey Department of Ed's information about any potential grants for more advanced equipment for these types of cell phone mandates and so on. So we'll be on the lookout for that and apply for any available funding in that regard. I also have a note in here about the warmer weather and what's happening on our school campus. We do notice a lot of activity on our campus when the warm weather arrives, and there are just some things I wanted to ask the community to be mindful of. Our playgrounds are now locked after school hours. We have had several incidents on our playgrounds of vandalism. I've had to work with SRPD on these. We've had everything from, believe it or not, over the weekend, birthday cake and plates and birthday cake found all over our ELC playground. We've had our elementary school playground on multiple occasions has been written on, spray painted, and so on. And then we also find dog waste on our playgrounds occasionally. So now those areas are fenced and locked so that we know on Monday when we return to school that our playgrounds are available and safe and clean for our students. So we do lock those in the evenings and the weekends. Our turf field has been getting a lot of use after hours, but that turf field does have to be used by our teams primarily. We are not allowing any persons on that field when our teams are using it, whether it's for games or practices. And we understand that it's a large field, and people have asked us if we are in for example, the softball side of the field, if they could be on the farther end. We are not allowing that at this time. We've had electric bikes being ridden on that field. The baseball and softball mounds are being used for bicycle tricks. We found trash on the field, benches taken and thrown in the middle of the field. I received a video just this weekend of bikes all over that field. So we really have to remind the community that the priority for those fields is for our athletic teams, our middle school and elementary school PE classes. They use it for instruction. And then also our elementary students use it for their recess period. That's what we built that field for. So we need some cooperation and some collaboration from our community on that. There are garbage cans located throughout our campus. We do ask assistance in keeping our grounds clean. We ask people to please dispose of trash in those appropriate garbage bins that are found. And those electric bikes that I mentioned, we ask that they not be ridden through our parking lots because we do have a lot of traffic in and out. We have our sports teams getting on buses. We have our teachers that might be working late and walking through that parking lot. So we are allowing, of course, the electric bikes to be used to ride to and from school, but not throughout the campus at other times and through the parking lots. So we're hoping, like I said, that the community can work together with us and help us keep our school campus safe and clean. Also in my superintendent's report, you have several confirmed HIB investigations for your review and approval as well. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you for that comprehensive report, Dr. Zurcher. We'll be handling that under the consent resolution, but I wanted to ask if any of the board members had any comments on her report.
Yes, I do. It's a shame that she has to bring up, about the people littering and just the disrespect that they're showing to this field that we just put in there. We listen to the people, we spend millions of dollars to upgrade our system, nice places for the students to come, and people just treat it like it's a trash dump. So they're going to force our hand in the future to not just lock it up, but to fence it off and restrict everybody all the time, and then they'll complain about that. So when it comes to that, because it's going to have to come to that Sunday, because people for some reason just don't want to listen, don't bitch to us. It's your fault. You're the people who are, you can't come up here and respect the facilities that we allow you to use. So when you destroy them and we lock them up, the onus is on you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other board members? Okay, at this time, we are going to open up the meeting for the reception of visitors, and this is so that the public may address agenda items only. There will be a public session later on in the meeting to address any items that any public has for the Board of Education. If you do come up, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. So now it is open to the public on first call, on second call, on third call. We're going to close this public portion, and at this time, we're going to go to an item under the President of the Board. This will also be done under consent resolution, but I wanted to point it out here. We have a board member who is resigning this evening, Mrs. Lisa Byrne. She's been on the board for 4 years? 3 years? 4 years? 4 years. And we have her resignation effective March 31st. I'm going to turn the meeting over to you, Mrs. Byrne, and ask if you'd like to give us any parting words.
Just that I really enjoyed my time. We're a great group of people. We work well together. Hopefully we'll find another person to replace me as soon as possible. I know it delays, I'm losing my voice today, delays the process sometimes depending on who's here and who's not. going on to bigger and better things, personally.
All right, thank you very much.
Good luck to you, Lisa.
Any
Enjoy.
board members?
Good luck.
Good luck, yeah, best of everything, best wishes.
See me, now to be out in the public.
Okay, good, then we'll have more than one person in the audience. Okay, then, thank you. At this time, Mr. Rosa, would you please go over the consent resolution?
So the South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. And whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by the said Board of Education in whole as if the same were individually acted upon, and those are under the Superintendent of Schools, 3.1 through 3.2, the President of the Board, 5.1, under Finance, 8.1 through 8.27, under Instruction, 9.1 through 9.4, under Policy and Legislation, 11.1, and under Human Resources, 12.1 through 12.7.
Okay, those are your items for the consent resolution. Board members, what is your pleasure?
Move the consent resolution.
There's a motion by Vice President Nielsen.
Second.
There is a second by Mrs. Sadowski. Any questions or comments? Mr. Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Budson,
Yes.
Mrs. Byrne,
Yes, sorry, I heard
Yeah.
Mrs. Lau,
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen,
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Okay, we're going to review our committee reports. First, the Athletics Committee, Mr. Budson.
There's nothing on the agenda but to say that the high school's future business leaders had a conference in Atlantic City, and some of the students did very well. But unfortunately, I lost the name, so
Oh,
it's a shout out to them. That's all I have.
okay, thank you.
Madam President, if I may?
Yes,
Under
please.
athletics. Last week or so ago was the Mr. South River, and towards the end, the 5 gentlemen who were picked to move on, they were all asked the same question about why they felt like they should be Mr. South River. Julius Rosado got up and spoke that he felt that one of the reasons why he would really enjoy being Mr. South River was because of the friendships that he built playing baseball here with the young men that were standing behind him and the coaches that he's had from Little League all the way up to South River, that he was recruited by other schools to come and play in their programs, but the bonds of the coaches that we have here at South River, Mr. Lepore and his crew, and the young men that Mr. Rosado has played with from Little League all the way up through his high school years, is the reason why he stayed here. And I think that speaks volumes for the fact that, you know, he has been recruited by other schools, but the coaching that he has received for all those years from the men that have coached him from Little League and continue to coach him in his high school league says a lot about our program. And I think our coaches should get a nod. And that's all I have for that.
Thank you, it certainly does say a lot. Why don't you continue with the Buildings and Grounds?
Nothing to report tonight on buildings and grounds, Madam President.
Thank you. Finance, Mrs. Lell?
Thank you so much. I'd like to bring attention to 8.1, specifically first in terms of a statement, and then I will do a general Finance Committee information. So the Finance Committee, which includes Ms. Sadowski, Mr. Basic, and myself, agree that Dr. Zurcher, Mr. Rosa, and the SR administration, ranging from our assistant BA to the building principals and athletic director, have proposed the best possible budget given the loss of state aid and rising health insurance costs. Prioritizing both student education and the retention of our dedicated staff remains central to the process. So I just wanted to make sure we put that out there first as information. And then having said that, in terms of all of the finance items, a brief summary. What's this? Let me go. This. The board approved various budgetary, grant, and contract items for the 24-25 school years, including the tentative budget submission and multiple service agreements for nursing, physical therapy, transportation, and internet upgrades. Key approvals also included tuition contracts, security and tech grant purchases for non-public schools, and capital reserve fund transfers. Additionally, new contracts were added for a preschool expansion grant, a school food pantry donation, which was beautiful, chatbot software, and storage containers. So the Finance Committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of the items 8.1 through 8.20, with additional items 8.21 through 8.27 on the agenda as listed, including routine items. And that is all I have for this evening.
Thank you. The Instruction Committee, Mrs. Lau.
Okay, there we go. So for instruction, from Dr. Trevisano's report, the South River High School juniors recently took the New Jersey GPA, while teachers in grades 3 through 9 are preparing students for the upcoming New Jersey Student Learning Assessments in May. Teacher leaders have been analyzing student achievement data, discussing instructional strategies like small group instruction, and reviewing teacher-created assessments to enhance learning. Professional development efforts have focused on supporting multilingual learners and integrating social-emotional learning, while preparations continue for key annual events, including the South River Day of Service, the Curriculum Fair, the District Art Show, and the Wellness Fair. Having said that, the Instruction Committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of the items 9.1 through 9.4 with no additional items on the agenda as listed, including routine items. And I have concluded.
Thank you. There are no items under negotiation. For policy and legislation, Mrs. Byrne.
Thank you. The Policy and Legislation Committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of the item 11.1 with no additional items on the agenda as listed, including routine items.
Okay, thank you. Our next committee is Human Resources. Vice President Nielsen, please.
Thank you, Madam President. The Human Resources Committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of items 12.1 through 12.6 with additional item 12.7 on the agenda as listed, including routine items. And that's all I have tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Mrs. Sadowski, do you have anything for safety and risk management?
No, I do not. There's no items on the agenda for this month. Thank you.
And our School Board Borough Council Liaison Committee, Vice President Nielsen.
Nothing to report, but Mr. G's in the audience tonight. I see filling in for the festivities. Nice to see you, sir. He keeps an open dialogue, which is nice. He calls me prior to every council meeting and asks me if there's anything we'd like to, put out there, and we greatly appreciate that. So thank you for being here to take his place tonight.
I was going to have a public comment that it's really impressive that you guys got cuts from the feds and the state, and you managed to keep your whole staff and most of your programs. Because I've heard from other towns all around the state how drastically cut.
Well, Dr. Zersha brought up at Thursday night's meeting that we're still millions of dollars in the holes from all the years that they wouldn't give us money. So, we have a great staff that makes do with what we can give them.
That's great. And improvements along the whole way, too.
Yep. Thank you, sir. And that's all I have tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Mrs. Sadowski, anything from the PTAs?
I do have a couple items. For the ELC primary PTAs, yearbooks are on sale. They're also looking for photos to include in the yearbook. Over the last couple of weeks, there have been several events, including Read Across America Week was celebrated. They had a Red Robin fundraiser, Gertrude Hawk fundraiser, and just this last week on Friday, I'm sure everybody saw the pictures of the Pie Your Teacher Day for Pie Day. That was a fundraiser that they had for elementary. Yearbooks are also on sale. They're looking for 5th grade baby photos for the yearbook. They're hosting a book fair March 31st through April 4th. And the elementary PTA is also looking for parent volunteers to help with the 5th grade end of the school year activities, including 5th grade fun night. They have a general meeting to discuss themes and fundraising on Thursday, March 27th. And as we all know, we are almost headed into Fun Day, which is probably the funnest day of the year. And there's a lot of planning that is going on behind the scenes, and I encourage all parents to get involved. Thank you.
Thank you. How about our residency committee? Vice President Nielsen, anything?
Nothing to report tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Our next committee would be the South River Public Library Liaison. Mr. Budzen.
Well, last week, the founders of Weird New Jersey had a presentation at the library, and it was very informative. And my ophthalmologist was mentioned. Tomorrow, they're having the 18th Adult Craft Night. Mondays are still yoga for adults. March 24th is healthy living. Thursday, April 6th is a meditation class. And then April 14th to the 17th, you're having their book sale. That's all I have.
Thank you. And from our student board representative, Ms. Kelvin Samidi. Got a mic?
The FBLA Club went to the State Leadership Conference in Atlantic City last week, where we had 4 students place top 10. The freshman class had a fundraiser in Chipotle on March 3rd. Ram Runway is hosting a prom dress drive throughout March. The Ram Packed Community Service Club is having a fundraiser with cones and crepes. On the first week of March, 2 assemblies were held, one about mental health and another about Women's History Month. Mr. South River was a success. Snacks and beverages were provided by the FBLA Club. And on Tuesday, March 4th, there was a parade hosted by the language courses where everyone got to decorate and wear masks for Fat Tuesday. Yes.
Thank you. Is there any old or new business to come before the board at this time?
Madam President, I would like to acknowledge Athletic Trainers Month is the month of March. So for Miss B and the student athletic trainers, I just wanted to make sure that we sent a message acknowledging their efforts and how they help our teams and students in general as needed. So that's all I'd like to say.
They certainly do provide a valuable element. I just wanted to ask, do we have a date for the curriculum fair yet, or?
We do. If the calendar stays the same, it is the Thursday before Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, I could find that. Thank you.
The 22nd.
And do we have anything from our attorney, Mr. Parton?
Only for executive session.
Okay. I think we got to pay some bills, Mrs. Lau.
I think we should. The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented, having been certified by the School Business Administrator, Board Secretary, be paid as listed, and I so move.
We have a motion by Mrs. Lau.
Second.
And a second by Vice President Nielsen. Is there any questions or comments on the bill list? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. At this time, we are now going to open up the meeting again to visitors and the public so that they may address any concern or comment that they have for the board. Please state your name and address if you come to the podium, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. This is on first call, on second call, and on third call. Okay, this closes the public portion, and the board is going to go into a closed executive session at this time. So be it resolved that pursuant to Sections 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, the following subjects be discussed at a session of the Board of Education closed to the public, and that subject is personnel. It is presently anticipated that the items to be discussed in closed session can be disclosed to the public when resolved. Is there a motion?
Nielsen.
There's a motion by Vice President Nielsen, second by Mrs. Byrne. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are in closed session. Mr. Giancopoulos, thank you for your attendance.
That's it.